What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Kinda Funny podcast. I am one of your hosts, Nick Scarpino, alongside the second best baby blues, Forbes 30 under 30, and number one in my heart,
yes.
Mr. Tim Geddes.
It is I. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well. I've never noticed how blue your eyes are until you wear something blue to compliment them.
I never do that, though, so you would never know.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true. To my left, the Texas treat, Latino heat, the chocolate to my brownie. The fudge to my sundae, Mr. Andy Cortez.
Where did the thought process go there?
The thought process was I couldn't remember the next line, so we just went to where we needed to go. We went to the shelf. We pulled something off.
What do I do in video games?
Clicking heads and ripping them to shreds.
Do you know the intro?
I know.
Did you do it?
Let me try.
No,
let me try.
the Latino heat. That's all I got.
Texas
Street Latino heat. Clicking heads, ripping to shreds.
The rootin' tootin', globe-trotting,
No,
head-shotting, nitro rifle.
Rootin' tootin' 3-point shooting.
Oh, that's what I was like. There's something that rhymed.
That's
I was
the
gonna
one.
say marathon running, and I was like, you've never ran a marathon.
No, that's Janet.
That's Janet.
That was Janet's intro.
Yeah, the rollerblading, never hating,
I was going to say
Wait,
Uncharted 3.
Roller
Hayden.
skating.
roller skating.
Roller skating, Nathan Drake Hayden.
Oh,
That
that's
was always
good.
what I kind of had in my mind. Hey, Nick, how's it going?
I'm doing well. And rounding out the quartet, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
What's up, Nick?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. It's nice to be on content with you.
This is like 2 weeks in a row. I'm spoiled.
Yeah, it feels odd, right? Like usually it's 2 times in a year.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We've already doubled what our normal
Yeah, that's
thing
crazy.
is.
Let's keep it going.
We're trying to switch it up on the KFP, as the kids
It's
call it.
nice.
Kids
It's
being
nice.
us.
Yeah, we're doing a thing where like everyone's kind of not really. I guess it's not really an intentional thing, but like Greg's playing more games. You're playing more games with us now too. More people are. We're shifting around content, so it's kind of nice to see some new voices on these.
You have a vibe right now.
Do I?
Yeah.
Because it's Kung Fu Panda 4
It is.
night tonight.
Yeah, it is. Is that why?
Well, we had a 1-2 punch this week of being able to watch Aquaman 2 and then Kung Fu Panda 4. And you know I like things that go in even numbers.
2 days in a row of having movie theater popcorn.
Are we
What a
doing
treat.
it again tonight though?
I mean, what? What do you What do you mean? Are we like...
Well, yesterday we decided to watch Aquaman 2, and we sent Joey and Roger out to get movie theater popcorn. As they were leaving, you said let's get 4 larges, and there were 4 of us, and that's by my approximation 3 times more popcorn than we needed in that.
Can I tell you I was very upset
Yeah.
yesterday when I went to the fridge to grab some LaCroix and I saw just a bunch of popcorn in the trash. And I was like, what the fuck? And like it smelled like fresh movie theater popcorn. And I was like, what the fuck? And nobody gave me any. You just threw it straight in the trash. Not even an offer.
Well, wait.
I don't think you were here by the time we.
No, yeah,
got
he
up.
was. He was.
Yeah.
Were you?
That's my bad.
That was at my desk.
That's my
That's
bad
my
then.
bad.
I had
Because here's the thing. I didn't look.
It smelled so good too.
Look, I don't want to. I'm not trying to bite the hand that feeds. I'm not trying to be a beggar and a chooser.
I get it, yeah.
But like,
or a midnight.
I don't. I don't like when popcorn is like wet with butter. I don't like.
It's my favorite type of popcorn.
So what do you want?
I don't want it to be glistening.
Mm.
Popcorn to me, like I want whatever butter you're putting on it, but I don't want you to like. Do you want butter after the fact, and then you fucking like put the the liquid on
Oh,
it? I
dude.
don't want
my problem is that
popcorn to be
I'm
moist.
at like the dispenser for just way too long. Like I go over there, I press the
Oh.
button, now I'm just like
it becomes cereal.
it gets to the point
So-
where I'm like, if I stay in here any longer, then they're gonna get security or something. Like I gotta like pull away at some point.
I don't want to be able to eat popcorn without having to use a napkin.
Yeah,
No.
I agree with that.
You don't
It's-
want to be able to do that.
Yeah, like
I need the butter on your
You
hand.
need the butter, like, because here's the thing: it's the risk factor, right? Where the risk and reward. Where if you eat popcorn, it's gonna fuck up your mouth. You know what I mean? There's like, what are the chances of some kernel getting in there in the next 2 days? You're like using your tongue.
I'm
your
pretty
tongue getting all cut up.
impervious to that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very sensitive. I got a sensitive mouth, Andy.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking to somebody
We
who,
know this about you.
as a
Yeah.
6-year-old, was down in bags of hot Cheetos. Like
Yeah.
my mouth has been through it all. You know.
What's the longest?
scarred up.
What's the longest you've gone after eating popcorn where you go, yeah, I still got something stuck in my tooth? Still a
Probably like
little kernel."
3 days, honestly.
Yeah, it's got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been times I'm like, I get in there. It's like I'll do the like I'm now brushing my teeth like 4 times in the day just to try to get it out. I got it, and then 2 days later I'm like, it's still there.
It's still there, and then it just
Water
whenever it wants, it just slides on out and leaves your
I think my
mouth.
tongue is just flexible. I get in there.
Oh,
really?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's like a tongue. If or there's like a day later where there's like a popcorn thing stuck in there, I'm just like get my
He's
tongue
gonna
back in
figure
the
it out.
corner. Yeah, I
Well,
get
see,
that figured out.
I don't got a
Tongue
great
cramp.
tongue, but like I feel like it can get anywhere it needs to in my mouth at the very least,
Yeah.
right? But I just feel like it's the rip factor. Maybe you just have a sturdier tongue.
I think I might have a sturdy tongue because yeah, like as I'm like There's no corner in my mouth where I don't feel like I have full control.
No
It's like
stone
there's
is
something
unturned.
there's something in there. I'm getting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Bless, what's your? We've had this conversation 10 million times, but what is your movie theater
Like, what,
food
routine?
drink
Ooh, I love
situation
that.
here?
It depends. Like I don't think I could do popcorn 2 days in a row because I do go hard. Like when I do get popcorn, I'm
Yeah.
I'm like putting so
Popcorn
much butter.
poppy, that's what
Yeah,
they call
like
you.
popcorn poppy is what they call me in the streets and on the avenues. I'll get like I get a lot of butter. Back in the day, they used to in my old movie theater back home. They used to have like a bunch of different flavors of like seasonings that you can put on the
Yeah,
popcorn.
I remember those.
Yeah,
I think
like-
Denmark still has that, don't they?
Mhm.
They have like the shakers. That's
They'll have like cheese
Yeah.
flavors and different stuff. So I
Yeah.
used to do a lot of that to the point where it would taste nasty. And it's like, all right, cool. Like,
You like
I'm
cheese,
I fucked
garlic.
up.
Stuck with this now.
I'm stuck with it. Yeah, it's like there's nothing I can do about this, so I'm just eating nasty popcorn throughout the movie. But ever since I've come to SF, we don't like none of the theaters I go to do that, and so
They don't have pickles either.
and they don't have pickles either. So like I'm doing a lot of butter and then like one packet of salt, like regular salt, just sprinkle it in there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just to add some flavor.
When I used to go to the Lee neighborhood theaters, which are it's calling me. No, stop calling me. Decline. Which
Getting
are it's a little chain of theaters over in the marina, and they had the popcorn was always just a little stale because it's like a mom and pop run joint. But
That's no excuse.
they did have the 3 or 4 different shakers of various things. Some of it was like fake butter, like
Yeah.
like the butter. I guess
The yellow kind of butter, or yellow
kinda
salt.
kind of that stuff. And I always kind of had some fun playing around with that. But then you'd go back and eat the popcorn. You're like, it's just terrible popcorn. So no matter what you put on top of
Yeah.
it, it's stale as shit.
Well, that's why I don't love pouring liquid onto my popcorn, because the liquid after a while starts to kind of get cold with the the natural weather effects around you.
You mean
climate.
the precipitation
Yeah.
in the air,
And then
the moisture?
suddenly I grab like a cold piece of popcorn and it's way chewier than it should be.
But like, how far are you into the movie at this point? Because I'm also finishing my popcorn in the first 30 minutes of the film.
Well, I mean, because with
Like this
my
sounds
routine,
like an hour or two problem.
with my routine, I normally also have like a Sour Patch Kids of some sort, and I'll go back and forth, right? But with the popcorn that we had yesterday, I wasn't super feeling it, and I noticed myself. Maybe that's why I gave Aquaman such a low ranking, because I wasn't fully
That's why
concentrating
That is definitely
on the
That's it.
themes and the motifs.
Sorry,
that-
everyone. If you go back and watch that, don't comment on Andy's opinion of Aquaman 2.
Yeah, because I guess
He
what
stated at the time.
what Jason Momoa was trying to get across to the audience was something a little deeper than I could fully understand at that point, because a lot of my brain power was like, I'm trying to navigate around the wet popcorn. I don't want the wet, soggy popcorn.
That's crazy.
I want the drier, crunchier.
Because I'm like, I
popcorn.
want the wet popcorn.
I
I
have
don't want wet popcorn.
Need it.
I have leftover popcorn at my desk in my sandworm. If you'd like some, It's a day old.
Right,
but
from
I
a
can
day
bring that
old.
out for you.
No, I'm good. I appreciate it though.
Have you
I
seen my
appreciate it.
Have you seen my pet sandworm?
Is
My
it the one that I've
popcorn
seen on
bucket?
social media?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've seen yours, but I know how it looks like.
I have it here, and this is how. I didn't tell this story. This is how anal retentive I am. Well, first off, the guy at the AMC referred to it as the fuck bucket, and I was like, we can't be saying things like that in public, right? That's something you say only on Twitter for your audience.
Yeah.
We can't be saying it in public, but we can say it publicly.
You can say it in front of way more people.
Say it into a podcast microphone.
If you are retweeting the fuck bucket and it's a joke that everyone's like, it's an obvious joke, but it's different when you lock eyes with a man that may be in his 30s, and I say, can I get the Dune bucket, please? He goes, oh, you want the fuck bucket? And my wife's there. I'm like, she already thinks I'm weird as shit.
Yeah, but if you want the Dune bucket, you're getting it for a reason. You're not getting it because you don't think it's not
That feels
a fuck
like a
bucket.
thing they tell you in training, like when they're explaining the whole Dune promotion. They're like, whatever you do, don't call it a fuck.
Denis
bucket.
Villeneuve was like, you have to call it a fuck bucket.
Hey, real quick, there's kind of a tangent here, but what the fuck is up with that theater commercial that came out yesterday?
Oh, dude, the Zendaya Timothée Chalamet one.
Oh, I didn't see it. Can you pull it up?
What? That's his name. It's Timothée.
He already said he doesn't like that.
He has an accent like you.
He already said nobody's ever called me that.
He's like, call me Timothy.
Timothée.
Yeah, he was like,
Timothée.
not
It
even
is
my mom
Timothée.
calls me
I was gonna
that.
say, it has an accent like you.
We did this a long time ago when
It's
we
Francais.
learned how to say Zendaya's name, which everyone still pronounces incorrectly. It's Timothée, but he says just call me Timothy because that's how everyone's.
What's his last name, Bless?
Timothée Timothée Chalamet.
But you said Chalamet,
Chalamet, yeah.
which is
That's
just,
how it's
I've
pronounced.
never heard it. I love it. I fucking love it. But this commercial comes out yesterday, and I've only seen it on social media, so I don't see the whole thing. It's just the 20 seconds or so that they've been.
Is that not the whole thing? Because I assume that was the whole
Well,
thing.
what is it
commercial?
for?
It looked like
It's for-
found footage. Like
It's an advertisement for the theater.
But what theater? That's the.
Oh, just going to the theaters. Yeah. Just go. This
Wait,
is
can we-
advertisement.
we have
It's
to-
an advertisement for
can
going
we
to the
pull this-
movie.
I'm gonna try to find this up.
Try to
'cause
find this
It
while
is
you do.
undeniably the horniest thing I have
very odd.
seen
I
in the
know. I've
last
told you
month
before.
and I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like it's
Yo,
crazy.
the advertisement worked on me.
I was the first person to obviously point out that there is heat between Timothée
The
and
first
Zendaya.
person.
I'm the very first person. And Tom Holland, you better watch out, buddy. And of course, everyone out there, you better watch out too, because if you didn't know, this is the Kind of Funny podcast where each and every week, 3, sometimes 4 best friends gather around this table, each just shooting the breeze for your amusement. If you love what we do, please support us over with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. You can get the Kind of Funny podcast for free with ads and without exclusive content on YouTube and podcast services around the globe. Shout out to our wonderful Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Kishan Patel, Nathan Lamoth, Karen Lidner, James Hastings, and Casey Andrew. You are all the best of the best, and we appreciate you so much. Today, we're brought to you by Shady Rays and BetterHelp, but we'll get to
Shady
that
Rays.
in a little bit. Oh, look at that right there. What is this? This is amazing. Andy, how come you didn't come up with this cool idea?
This is the.
I was gonna say, how did you not see this on IG Reels?
it's the Linda,
I'll see it 3 weeks
Liddell
from now.
game.
Yeah. Kev, so I sent assets the commercial that I'm talking about, and I'm really excited for Nick to see this because it's just you would bless, I imagine, saw it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
too.
But it really felt like it was cut out of a larger advertisement.
I mean, it must be, and I couldn't find it. I was like,
See, I would have assumed this came on before the movie. Like when they're doing the whole thing where
Oh, like they used to do that where Tom Cruise was like, hey, everyone, I'm Tom Cruise. Thanks so much for watching Top Gun Maverick.
Thanks for coming
Yeah.
to the
Tom
theater.
Cruise. Thanks for coming to the theater.
or like the thing
Tom
that comes
Cruise.
on where they're like, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. I thought that's what they're using this
but
for.
so that's an AMC. Every theater has its
for
own one, right? That's an AMC one. I don't know what this one is, and on the popcorn bucket there is a logo. I can't recognize it, and it just feels incomplete. Anyway, you ready for this, Nick?
Yeah.
Twitter video.
Love Twitter.
God, Twitter, get your life together. Uh-oh. Where are his arms out?
Like it's so hot in Arrakis.
Look, we saw you from across the theater.
Is it Sinopolis? Oh, it's Sinopolis, of course.
Is this the Regal?
No, Sinopolis is its own thing. It's fucking awesome though.
Like
What
it
are they
looks
gonna
like they're
do to
going
her?
in there to
She
fight.
just got invited to a threesome.
What are
Like,
they gonna
what
do
the
to her in
actual
there?
fuck is this?
That's very, very odd.
I'll be honest with you. I'd rather watch that every time I see a movie than the Nicole Kidman commercial. I'm so tired.
You see,
of that
they're
thing.
making new ones, or they
Yeah,
made
they
new
already
ones.
did.
They've already
Don't
rolled
need
them
it.
out.
I don't.
They're out. I saw
don't
that.
want
Are they good?
It's just same thing. Like
How'd they get
The
her-
second act
so
kind of falls
upset.
apart.
It might be the biggest letdown since I can't even think of something. Like it was because there's like one line difference, and then they just put Elvis instead of the other movies.
Was that the thing? They're
How did-
like, we need updated movies, and they just fucking
In the back.
Pretty much. Like now she mentions music. It's like the
But
music.
where did they get? How did they find that shiny suit again? Do you think they had that just in storage? Or did they
That's
have
the
to buy
weirdest
another one?
thing. Is like
Do you think
I'm
she's CG'd
hoping-
in there?
you think what?
You think she's CG'd in there?
Like she's not really there.
I mean, I would love that. Because apparently she got
Her hair
paid
is just
hella
flowing
money
like aqua.
for the second ones and the
Of
first
course
one.
she did. It's a
But,
cultural phenomena.
Yeah,
That
that's
thing
amazing.
has transcended just a normal commercial. We've gone through the range of emotions with that, where I'm like, wow, that's Nicole Kidman, to, oh my God, I'm so tired of this, to let's get on board with this, to now she's our icon, we should vote for her for everything.
Absolutely. And I've been there since day one, but I appreciate when there are other people like me, because when we went to go see Dune 2, and I was watching Dune 2 at essentially like the first showing in Dolby, which usually means like these are the hardcore movie motherfuckers. You know what I mean? And there was a whole row of people being like, yo, they're going to show the new Nicole Kidman one. It's going to be the new one.
God.
It's going to be the new one. And I'm like, this is awesome.
They walked out as soon as the Nicole thing ended.
Yeah.
Theater's half empty.
Man, what movie were we in where someone finished the line right before her and we all laughed really hard?
I mean, that was a long time
Fuck
ago.
it was so funny. That guy was perfectly
I
timed.
saw such a great TikTok recently of a video I've seen a lot of times before, but recontextualized with Dune, and it's a little like Boston Terrier type dog, and it's in somebody's like passenger or driver's side of their but the windows down, and it's doing like the type of bark that you've seen. I'm sure silly dogs do in these silly TikToks where it's like, it's like doing that thing. And they're like, anytime Timothy Chalamet looks into the camera in Dune, and it was just. It was it was like the exact same sounding song. It was so good.
Can I tell you how many times I've showed people that Interstellar with cat keyboard video, and nobody thinks it's as funny as we do?
No, it's incredible.
It's fucking incredible.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I'll find it.
Okay, I feel like I just activated.
I'll find it right now.
That's pulling it up
Well, the
on
funniest
content.
thing, though, Blessing, is that
No, you don't
Nick
need to tell
sent it
this
to me.
part. You don't need to tell.
I was like, Nick, check your TikTok. I sent this to you 4 weeks ago.
I'm only on Instagram. Everyone knows.
He sent
this.
me back the same video, and he was like, "It's hilarious."
Wes, where are you at with this Dune phenomenon going on? 'Cause
still
haven't heard
seen-
anything from you.
I've not seen Dune 1, and I was talking to Andy about this earlier, that like I've seen so many people tweet about Dune 2 and how much they love Dune 2, and it's not only normies, right? It's like the people who are like movie sickos. It's people who you like. I would pretentious is not the right word, but the people who I could see like being like, oh man, nah, man, this is some big budget fluff type thing, right? Even those people are like, yo, no, this Dune 2 movie is incredible.
It's the people that when they say stuff on Twitter about movies, 50% of the time you expect to roll your eyes.
Yeah. Across the board, it seems like everybody's loving Dune 2. My thing is, I missed. Did Dune 1 even come out in theater?
Yeah.
Okay, but I think it also came to streaming at the same time or
Same
something,
day.
right? Because it was pandemic. So I tried to watch Dune 1 by myself at home, and I got 10 minutes in, and I was like, no, I can't do this. Like, I just don't have the attention span. And so, like, now that I'm seeing everybody loves Dune 2, I want to watch Dune 1 and then hopefully catch Dune 2 while it's still in theater. But I know so little. Like, I'm still in the Avatar stage with it, like Blue People Avatar, where I don't know shit about Dune, and I don't want to know shit about Dune until I watch it.
No one shops at TJ Maxx. Sorry.
Yeah.
Spoilers there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, I feel like I'll laugh less at Dune. Dune seems like it has this shit together more than Avatar, where people are just fucking dressing up like they went and shopped at Macy's,
Yeah.
just wearing t-shirts.
Or wearing Oakleys.
Yeah.
But
Wearing,
again,
like,
those are the
Payless shoe sneakers.
But again, those are the ones that have been assimilated into the human culture, Tim. We all know that.
We do. We do.
Or
Yeah, but,
it's
like, they're still
What?
blue
Les is
people.
gonna one day watch these movies and be like, "This is my entire personality now. I'm going blue, baby."
I need you. I want to comment on what Blessing's talking about, but right now I need you to pull this up and watch this. Go ahead, Kev. I can't hear it.
Also, Nick, I do have a follow-up question for you.
Jesus Christ.
keep it going.
I'm not realizing that I need to have seen Interstellar to appreciate this.
You haven't seen Interstellar?
No, I've not seen
Oh
Interstellar.
my God, Blessing. Okay,
I'm
look.
sitting here like, when does the punchline happen?
It's essentially the
The
theme song
soundtrack, right?
that theme song is obviously very, very popular, and you
The
know,
emotional
Hans Zimmer.
core of the film.
Yeah, and Hans Zimmer is obviously just the GOAT. But that I would put that theme song in terms of going beyond Interstellar fans, in the same like level of Kanye's
Oh, yeah.
like where you see people you would never assume to have listened to Kanye West music, like play that song or cover that song. And I feel like the same thing sort of crossed over with that Interstellar theme song. It's just insanely popular. We got to get you in Tim's theater. I'm gonna invite him over to your theater.
Yeah, we gotta line you up,
marathon.
Les, and just
Dude,
like
I for a very long time I've been putting off a Christopher Nolan marathon, because all the Christopher Nolan movies I've seen, like fucking all the Batman movies, Oppenheimer, and like I think there's Inception.
Have
Love
you
all of
seen
them.
Prestige?
No, that's the thing is, like,
Good one.
aside from those, I've not seen other Christopher Nolan movies, but the ones that I have are like some of my favorite movies, and so I just want to marathon through all of them.
Here's the thing about Nolan. Nolan doesn't make bad movies. Sometimes his movies aren't for me. Like, I didn't particularly care for Tenet, but I can recognize that it's a beautifully made movie, and he takes a lot of risks with this stuff, and he goes fucking nuts. Denny is a little bit more like Villeneuve is a lot more up my alley when it comes to sci-fi, because he does like super high level, like heady sci-fi, like deep.
What else has he
sci-fi.
done that I would know?
He has done Arrival. He's done Sicario. He did Blade Runner 2049.
Sicario. Okay.
And he did he did this. He did a movie called Prisoners, which was the first time I remember seeing his name thinking, holy shit, this guy builds tension well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever saw
Yeah.
that movie, but it's Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman
And Paul
Dano.
Dano.
Yeah, and it's Hugh Jackman thinks that it's heavy material. Hugh Jackman's kid gets kidnapped, and he thinks it's Paul Dano, so he kidnaps Paul Dano and tortures him like the whole fucking movie, just to get his kid.
And who's the main character in Dune? Paul Atreides.
Oh,
Motherfucker's name's Paul.
And what was my uncle's name? Danny.
Luke.
Uncle Danny.
Uncle
Danny.
I
Sicario was sick, by the way. I love
Sicario
it.
was fucking. Have you seen Sicario?
No.
I will say I
Dude,
will say I'm very shocked at because I've been around Nick when Nick is trying to absorb media, and it's not always the easiest process. In similar ways to me, I relate. I do relate.
Square peg, round hole. Sometimes
Yeah.
I need you to
I'm not sure what he's going for, but I'm
expound
with
a little
him,
bit
yeah.
here.
Andor is one of the best shows I've ever watched, and for Nick it was like too slow, very
I
very
tried it
dialogue
twice,
heavy,
and I was like, not for me.
and like you telling me that I'm like I don't know how you enjoyed Blade Runner 2049 or the first Dune because they
So-
are so slow.
So that's what I'll tell Blessing, right? So getting back to that is that Dune is not like any other sci-fi movie you're gonna watch. If they don't spoon feed anything to you, you will probably be lost predominantly throughout Dune 1 until you Google it and have some of the background explain to you what's going on. It's a lot of setup for Dune Part 2. Just get through it, appreciate the visuals, appreciate the acting, and then
Maybe just every once in a while Google Lisan al
me and Kevin,
Or-
me and Kevin will take you out
No.
to lunch, and Kevin will give you the full backstory of what's going on. In
I saw
Dune.
somebody in our chat this morning was like, after Bless watches Dune, you should just watch in review because Kevin
I
gives
agree.
explanations.
I honestly no jokes. Like I
Unless
think
it's
that
better
the
to just come over.
or that, but a great way to do your Dune experience right
Do
now would
the
be
Dune.
watch Dune, do the Dune, baby. Is watch
what this
Dune
podcast
1,
is gonna be
then
called.
watch in review,
Yeah.
then watch Dune 2, because we have such a great conversation, and Kev does such a good job of like explaining the things that you wouldn't know. I watched Dune 1 when it came out, and I respected it more than I actually liked it. Rewatching it, I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with it even more doing in review. Dune 2, though,
It's like
is
playing Bloodborne.
Yeah.
It's like playing a Souls game.
No,
You
that
go back,
makes-
you watch the
no,
lore
real
videos,
talk.
you're like, holy
That's exactly
shit, that
true.
is way deeper than I would have ever imagined. I respect the shit out of the process here. You know?
yeah.
Because you have to remember, Dune 1, I think, was like the book was like 750 pages. So you're getting a lot of this. Part 1 and Part 2 are just one book. You're getting a lot of exposition in the book that you're just not going to get in these movies. There's like other houses that's going on. There's a whole galactic empire that's happening. There's all sorts of politics that's very, very difficult to keep up with because there's a lot of different. It's like if someone were to try to explain to you Game of Thrones, you'd be like, stop. I need to take a break from this. And that's kind of Dune.
Dune 2, though, is like
It's action.
Dune 1, it's set up. Dune 2 is payoff
All
in a way
payoff.
that like Dune 2 is so much easier to follow. Like Dune 2 feels like just a normal movie. It's
Yeah.
just on a different level. Like the story and plot and characters, you understand everything that's going on. There's a lot of deeper shit happening too, but I feel like it's a more enjoyable film to watch just as a movie.
That's what I've seen online, which is like honestly the biggest thing that gets me make me want to get into it. I will say also Blade Runner 2049. I did fucking love that movie too.
So, and my thing is
you're
this,
in.
like, I think and you'll love Dune. Blade Runner is a Denis Villeneuve like special, right? It is a slow build up to like a tense climax, and that's what he does. To answer your question, I love Blade Runner because I love the original Blade Runner. I grew up watching that, and so the fact that we even got another one felt like we were spoiled. I never thought they'd do,
And that it
another
wasn't
Runner
bad.
movie. And that
There's
not
a
only
lot of
was
ways to make a sequel to a Blade Runner thing that like everybody goes, oh, why did they even do this?
Yeah.
We don't need this.
It could have very, very easily been the last Matrix movie that came out to streaming, which was enjoyable, but like not, it felt like a totally different product than the original Matrix trilogy. But Blade Runner 2049, I just found beautiful. I think it's superficial to say, but my entry point in there was the cast. I love Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan Gosling is one of the best leading men. I think he's one of the most versatile actors out there. And just the fact that they were like, let's take this guy who's predominantly doing like rom-com roles and stick him in this like really tragic, sad character. And then also let's do the future of Blade Runner, but have it not be neon lit. Let's have it be just like dour. And from the first scene where he sort of wakes up in the I forget what they call them, the cutters or whatever the cars are called. And then he interacts with Batista, who gives his most nuanced performance I've ever seen in my
Batista's
entire life.
incredible
I mean,
in
just the 5 minutes you get in that movie of Batista is like the best Batista you're ever going to get. I'm like, this movie is something special. It's something beautiful. And I watched that again 2 months ago. I watched Dune and Blade Runner on a plane. And I was like, this is
like God intended.
well, I mean, I've seen him on the side,
Yeah,
experience in the TV, but it's just one of those movies that is just a testament to how good a filmmaker that team is. That you could watch 2.5 hours of like deep sci-fi in Blade Runner, not really be spoon fed it, and be like at the end of it, it's just sad. It's so sad, and there are so few movies that are like that because they're just not very commercial. And thank fucking God for the first time in the history of this podcast, you people out there listen to me.
You did.
Because you've come out. You have come out and you have watched Blade Runner, and it is currently at like what 85 million or something like that.
Way past that.
Way
now.
past that
was
now.
Opening weekend.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to put another message out. Please go rent The Heat so that we can get The Heat number 2 because Sandy Bullock and Melissa McCarthy they need some work, guys. They need some work. And also, when the Suits revival comes back, here's what we need to start doing. Blessing.
Mm-hmm.
When Suits comes back, we start our campaign for another Psych movie.
You got me at the end there. Yeah, I was gonna be like we, but yeah, when you went to psych, I'm down for whatever you need me to do. I'm down.
The biggest worry was that Denis Villeneuve is like such a not going to go for the paint by numbers sci-fi movie. He's not going to make a Star Wars movie that's going to spawn a bunch of toys and have like this big commercial thing. So when Dune 1 came out, it didn't do particularly awesome.
I bought
obviously
the Oscar
because
Isaac toy.
Huh?
I bought the Oscar Isaac.
Oh,
actually.
sure.
It was naked. It just sits there. It doesn't articulate.
It's just something
You'll get that later.
you bought like a little statue off of like Etsy or something. The worry is I was like, is this gonna make enough money to be funded for the sequel?
And that's a very big worry because Blade Runner 2049 didn't.
Yeah.
And you could tell they were like, we're going to go forward in this and tell other stories in this universe because there's lots of crazy tie-ins with Blade Runner. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but theoretically, Blade Runner is in the Aliens universe. Did you know that?
No way.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Really?
They are a shared universe.
Like Apex and Titanfall.
There's
Company is the shared thing.
There's a moment also in Blade Runner 2049 when you look up, you can see a ship that looks a lot like the Sulaco, which is the ship from Blade Runner or from Aliens 2 that Ripley goes to back to the planet.
Oh, wow.
There's like lots of shared universes there, and there's lots of crazy like that could have been if that movie had hit, they could have built out a cinematic universe in that's like what Marvel did, but for like high sci-fi.
So is
Yeah, it would've
Fassbender
been
like a
insane.
replicant from?
Yeah.
Fassbender was
Yeah.
no, he was a he's not technically a replicant because replicants are organics. Fassbender was a android,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
but
you're
built
right.
by another company. I think he was built by Weyland-Yutani.
Wait,
not-
no, but
Not who was the original in Blade Runner, Kevin? Who was
isn't
the
it
original?
Wayland? I
It might have been Wayland. You're right.
Yeah,
I think it is Wayland.
Wayland-Yutani.
And then Wayland
gets-
went under Yutani bought him, and,
Yeah.
and they formed. I think it's spelled differently or some shit like that. But anyway, it's that's the there's
My
lots of
favorite
fun
thing is
stuff
when like
there.
sci-fi shit has in-universe
Mhm.
corporations that you can then buy merch.
There, so
Oh,
Be
there's
like,
yeah.
oh, it's an alien shirt, but it doesn't say aliens. It says Wayland
Wayland
Corp
Yutani,
or
yeah.
whatever. You know?
Nakatomi
shit,
Plaza,
Yeah.
like Nakatomi Plaza Christmas party.
Yeah.
the amount of people I saw in college who had like Aperture Science shirts.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
One of the other weird sort of connections to that, and I'll stop nerding out about this, is the movie Soldier, starring Kurt Russell, which I'm sure none of you have ever seen because it tanked in the box office.
So fucking good.
But it was a one-off movie and about a soldier. It's like a eugenics program where they're trying to make the best soldier by basically like crossbreeding, genetic DNA manipulation, all that stuff.
Like Final
and
Fantasy
it
VII.
builds into
First class.
but it builds into sort of like basically he gets discarded and thrown onto a garbage planet where he has to then fight because he finds some people that were there and he has to fight and get them off it. Anyway, long story short is in one of the shots there's a Blade Runner car in there.
Oh.
No.
And so everyone's like, oh shit, this was just another company's, like another paramilitary organization's like trying to make a soldier like the replicants were soldiers
That's
or like
awesome.
the androids were soldiers from these competing companies were all making these
That's
like
That's pretty sick.
these soldiers. And this one just didn't work because obviously the androids and replicants like went forward. But it's just a cool concept to like build all of those things out. And then those soldiers would have had to be like, oh shit, there's an alien infestation. We have to send them there to die or whatever.
Where
And oh, shit.
does John Cena's Marine fit into the universe?
Very highly.
Yeah,
Very
okay.
high. Yeah.
You know, there's like, okay, I this weekend learned a lot. 14 Airbud movies, y'all.
I saw you say that.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Was it online? Was it on Twitter?
I
or something?
tweeted it, yeah.
I saw that. And I was like, "There's no way."
There's 14 movies. Like there's 2 Airbuds that were theatrically released. Of course, Airbud and then Airbud Golden Receiver.
Golden Retriever.
Oh
That's
my
awesome.
God.
Amazing.
Somebody got
Absolutely
paid to write that
amazing.
title.
Yeah. And then there's the Air Buddies, like spin-off franchise that are all little puppies.
Air
They go to
Buddies.
space, they meet Santa.
I definitely
that's
saw
awesome.
the first one in theaters.
Airbud?
Everyone
I
saw
saw
Airbud.
Buds in theaters. I was a big Airbud guy.
Big stinky Santa.
You got this little dude walking out in Jordan 3s, bro. Come the fuck on. I was all about it. But yeah, 14 Airbud movies. And then I was just going down a rabbit hole of like franchises that have just way more entries than you would have ever expected. Obviously, Land Before Time comes up a lot
Oh,
where you're
yeah.
just like, there's a bazillion of them. But the Marine. Like there's so many Marines,
yeah.
and they just keep putting WWE superstars as the leads. Like the Miz
Randy
was a
Orton's
Marine
in
at
one,
one
right?
point. I don't think Orton.
Oh, really?
I don't know about Orton.
Well,
but,
Cena did the first one. Yeah, I don't think he did the sequels, right?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think he blew up after that because the Marina I saw in theaters.
Wow.
What?
It was fun.
I didn't know that was a theatrical release.
Oh yeah, it's a dumb, fun action movie. Because I was like, I like John Cena. He's like, I think it was one of the first movies he had done. I think he was still with the WWE, like still one of the
Oh, yeah.
high level guys.
I know you can't see him. Like,
Done. And I remember watching it and just being like, this is a so stupid but really, really fun action movie about like they kidnap his wife and they kidnap the wrong wife, and he's got to go kick ass and take names or whatever.
Randy Orton was in something. Randy Orton was in an action movie.
Can I
You
tell
think
you,
Randy Orton or Randy Couture?
Randy Orton.
Okay.
there's nothing tougher growing up than being a kid that didn't like Land Before Time, because it was always on Cartoon Network, and I did not. Tim, were you a big fan? I did not fuck with Land Before Time.
How
as a kid.
can you not?
12 rounds
I think it was
reloaded.
just like always on when I didn't want to watch that shit.
That's so. Land Before Time is like impeccable.
As a kid, it just didn't work for me. I think maybe I was too young or something, but
Maybe,
like
man,
it was always on, and I was like, great, like another 2 hours before I can watch
That's so
before I can watch some
funny,
other
man.
shit.
they were like 30 minutes long.
Land Before Time, it felt like forever. At the age.
4.2 out of 10 was The Condemned 2 on IMDb. So The Condemned 2 starring Randy Orton and Eric Roberts. Not shocked
I
at all
love
that
Eric Roberts.
Aaron Roberts is in that. And 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 46 on Rotten Tomatoes for 12 rounds reloaded.
What's incredible about Eric Roberts, and obviously I got the opportunity to interview him, very, very nice.
Was that he was in Inception?
He's in the fucking Dark Knight.
Oh, Dark Knight is maybe what
That's
I
the one
meant.
you're thinking
That's what
of.
I meant. Yeah,
He
yeah.
pops up and stuff still to this day, every once in a while, where I'm just like, fuck, he's in great shit still.
Who?
This guy, Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts.
He plays Maroney in Dark Knight.
Oh,
You know
I
Eric
love this
Roberts.
guy.
He's a
Yeah, that's
badass.
right. Nick interviewed him.
I talked to him for an hour and a half about his career. I was like, this is the
Nick
coolest
did it.
thing
We
I've
have
ever
cool
done.
friends with Eric Roberts.
I did that, and I did
Julia
Dan
Roberts'
Fogler.
brother, right?
Julia Roberts' brother, yes,
And,
and
Emma Roberts'
dad.
dad.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Roberts family is
It's hilarious how I know Emma Roberts, but like the other ones, I'm like, cool.
This dude has
788 acting credits.
Yeah.
he's a
IMDb.
badass. And look at
insane.
his. Look, can you go back to that real quick, Kevin? I'm sorry. Can you bring that right back
He's
up?
paying the
Can you click
bills,
on his
bro.
picture up top? Keep going on his picture up top.
Sorry.
his wife was
That's,
lovely.
Oh, I thought that was Cillian Murphy for a second.
So lovely.
His
Look
wife in that
right
interview
there.
was so
Just the
lovely.
picture of him, just his profile picture. Keep scrolling up.
Oh, sorry.
Scrolling up. Look at his hair.
Beautiful
Look at
head
this
of
guy's
hair.
beautiful
He's got a
head of
mop.
now.
His,
His
his
hair.
wife was phenomenal. I
Yeah.
They were
remember
both
she had him
wonderful.
a couple moments where she really stood out.
Yeah.
Very, very wonderful.
She was just very helpful with Eric Roberts getting the Zoom work in and stuff.
Oh,
and,
that's so
and it was just like such an earnest interview. It was a very good, that was peak pandemic. That was like, for some reason, you were emailed or Greg was emailed, and Greg was like, does anybody want to interview Eric Roberts? We're like, Nick was like, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome. And it was just like such an earnest interview with somebody who's very happy to be where they are and isn't at all bitter that they were never the number one Tom Cruise star. They're just like, I've been working my whole life in acting. I've been making a great living. I take a lot of roles, and I'm just kind of happy to be where I'm at.
That's
And it was
awesome.
so
Holy
earnest
shit.
and honest and beautiful.
Yeah,
That's dope.
Yeah.
That was a fun. That was a fun part of my career doing this. Getting an opportunity because you have to off. Excuse me. You have
After
to
you got
also
winked.
remember that I got winked. I grew up watching Eric Roberts movies. There's a movie called the Best of the Best that he did about a Olympic.
Hold on, just stop, Andy. The Best of the Best. Isn't that the most Nick loves that movie
Yes.
name of a movie ever?
Yes. Yes. It just reminds me so much of Stugatz, where he's like, if there's an ex Green Beret in the movie, I'm in.
Dude, I mean, I will. Okay, you know the joke about me knowing every new martial art. If there was a movie that was about a martial art, I was like, I'm going to it. And this, the best of the best.
The most Nick thing ever. James
Bad.
Earl Jones.
So, I'm going to tell you the pitch for this, and you guys are going to eat your fucking
God.
words right now. This is the United States Taekwondo Olympic team, and they're going to fight Korea, and they are the best to figure out who is going to be the best of the best. And
I
Eric
love
Roberts had a ponytail at this point, and he looked badass. And so I started growing a ponytail out, but I didn't have the sides. I had to shave the sides. And so because my two icons that I wanted to be exactly like, and I'm ashamed to say this. Well, not one. One, Eric Roberts, who was awesome. And the other one was Steven Seagal, who was just a garbage human being. But they both had ponytails, and I was like, I can have a ponytail instead of being fit.
Dude, as a kid, like, yeah, I'd walk by the living room all the time. My dad had some Steven Seagal movie, and that guy's just breaking 14 arms in a matter of 3 seconds. Like,
Can you bring that back up for a second? I want to read the tagline because I feel like it's important for people to know that the tagline for Best of the Best is a team is not a team if you don't give a damn about each other.
Damn.
I didn't know
sick.
that Taekwondo was a team sport.
I mean, every Olympic sport is technically
you go
a
forward
team
before.
sport.
It's like Smash Bros.
Yeah, it's like skating or whatever. Like you have your Olympic team.
Got it.
These are the four
Okay.
people that make it to there to see who's gonna actually win the gold medal, silver. But it was just cool, man. I'll tell you why, because they knew what they were doing, right?
That's when movies like that could get made.
When I was a young kid, obviously riding hot off the heels of watching Karate Kid for the first time. Look how fucking look how good he looked back then.
Beautiful man.
So they were like, we're gonna go to the Olympics. When I was, let me explain something to you. I used to take Kempo karate, right, at the United Studios of Self-Defense. Now, years later, I look back at this. And I think I spent a lot of money for absolutely no ability to fight whatsoever. But the way they had it was like the longer you go, the more belts you get. They said if you get up to purple belt, you get to wear a black gi.
You don't think
Oh,
you
that's
ever
sick.
were
That's
in
fucking cool.
jiu-jitsu at one point and somebody was like, wow, did you train at the
No, I
United?
distinctly remember because there is a United Studios of Self-Defense. Like, they're still around. There's one in I want to say like Burlingame, and then there's one over in the city, or it used to be. I remember distinctly trying to use Kempo the first couple classes I took in jiu-jitsu, and I just got fucking plowed.
Oh,
I just got
man.
destroyed. There it is right there.
It doesn't quite translate over.
Well, because I tried to do like an arm lock on someone that I had done on my buddy Stu, because I was always the guy that knew. I was like, let me show you this arm lock. So I'd be like, put your arm out just
Take
like
your
this,
shoe off.
just like this.
Has been
And then I would
happening
do
for
this.
so long.
And I would manipulate doing it. So I tried to do that in a live roll one time, and a guy just rolled out of it, and then double leg took me down to the ground, and then smashed me, and I tapped, and I was like, well, that didn't work. It's that stark realization that all the shit that I learned when I was a kid, thank God I never got into a fight, because I would have gotten the shit beat out of me by wrestlers. They would have just taken me to the ground and punched my fucking face in. Anyway, long story short, I got my purple belt so I could wear the black gi. Wore it 3 classes, quit.
Oh,
Because I just wanted the black gi.
Yeah.
I just wanted the black gi. It was
That's
cool.
not an awe. That's you did the thing.
So when
Congrats,
this movie
Dave.
came out, long story short, the Olympic team, the American team got to wear the black gis, and the Korean team had to wear the white gis. So it was the first time ever that I was like, oh, the good guys are in like the darker uniforms, right? It was like
That's
it's
so
like Return of the
cool.
Jedi style, and they were fucking bad with the
Very
bone.
cool.
And then Eric Roberts breaks his shoulder, but he has to fight with one arm.
oh man.
It's so sick.
Bless, did you ever do any like
Martial arts?
yeah?
Oh yeah, I did Taekwondo for a couple years. It's funny. I was just talking to Kevin about this.
Have you
that,
seen the
like-
best of the best?
No, I'm not. I mean, now I'm like, I
Can I
gotta
interest
go
you
watch this.
before we do
Also,
Interstellar?
James Earl Jones is their coach.
Before we watch Interstellar or any of the other Avatar movies, let's watch
Just watch
Best of the Best
in the theater.
No,
No,
why
I got to purple belt. I want to say, like, I wasn't that many belts off from actually getting to a black belt, but my parents stopped letting me go, both because they didn't want to keep paying money for it, which
Right.
I'm like, cool, I get. But then also because I didn't have a ride anymore. Like, my sister was the one who was taking me,
Yeah.
and then she went off to college, and they're like, all right, cool,
All right, cool.
we don't have anybody else to take you. And I'm like, I'm almost a black belt. Like, just let me go for like another year or something. And they're
That's
like, no.
a huge bummer,
Yeah.
folks. And I want to talk to him about that real quick. Before we do that, let's take a break to hear from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays, an independent sunglasses brand that has over 300,000 5-star reviews. They're on a mission to match affordability with durability, making top quality shades accessible to everyone. They have tons of styles and colors to pick from, so finding the perfect polarized shades is a breeze. Their tangle-free collection is perfect for all hair types and is their hottest selling style. These shades have specifically designed nose pieces with long hair in mind for ultra comfort, so you'll never have a snag in your hair. Here at Kinda Funny, we all love wearing our Shady Rays. Whether it's Tim looking dope in his Pokemon Go walks, Snowbike Mike rocking the snow goggles, or me just looking fantastic in my tangle-free shades. If your shades go MIA or take a hit, don't sweat it. They've got lost and broken protection, so you're covered from day one. And if you don't love your shades, exchange or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Exclusively for y'all, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code KF20 for $20 off each pair of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, shadyrays.com and use code KF20 for $20 off each pair of polarized sunglasses.
This episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. Whether it's friends, partners, or coworkers, I am blessed to have many amazing relationships in my life. But a common misconception about relationships is that they have to be easy to be right. But sometimes the best ones happen when both people put in the work to make them great. Therapy can be a place to work through the challenges you face in all of your relationships, whether it's with friends, work, your significant other, or anyone else. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny.
All right. You want to go back to it? That's a Taekwondo gym, like right down the street. You want to start throwing some kicks again?
I feel like if I'm gonna go back to a martial art, it would probably be jujitsu, just for like the utility of it.
Sure.
There's the thing where most fights you get into in real life are probably gonna go to the ground.
You
right?
could take
So,
you
like,
could take like kickboxing or Muay Thai. That'd be.
I
fun
love the
for
way
you.
you're thinking about this, Bless.
yeah, because like what if I
Most fights you get into,
in real life,
they're
in
going to the
case,
ground.
just in case, like if I ever get into a real fight in real life again, like I've been in many in my real life.
Of
but
course, yeah.
like I feel like if I'm gonna do a martial art, it would be more for utility than anything else. Because like I have other things I'm doing just for like the physical activity. Like
Sure.
I'm enjoying playing soccer. I'm enjoying playing volleyball and stuff. If I'm gonna do martial arts, it's like I want to have a fight. Like I want to actually be like a fucking warrior.
Yeah.
And if I'm gonna do that, I feel like jujitsu would be the way to go. Even though Muay Thai, that shit scares me. Cause like it's all fucking elbows and knees, right?
Oh yeah. Muay Thai is.
And I don't want to get elbowed in the face.
It hurts.
I know,
It
yeah.
hurts. You could also. I would be less worried about elbow and more worried about getting head kicked. Because I've sparred with people who have like not gone full bore on me, but they'll throw a kick every once in a while, and if you
You're
don't
like, oh,
block that thing,
shit.
you're done for a
Yeah.
while. But weirdly, my sambo team, my gym has a little group within the gym that does sambo, which is like the John Wick stuff, where it's like you remember when he walks through the gym and in the behind the thing, and there's guys in blue and guys in red.
Mm-hmm.
That's Russian sambo. That's basically their version of judo, but because the Russians are fucking crazy, you can throw kicks and headbutt and punch each other in combat sambo. Like headbutt. You can headbutt in combat. You can throw knees and shit. And the only place you can do this stuff is like there's like a world combat. Actually, I don't think it was worlds, but the Arnold Classic, which is a weightlifting competition, also has a component that is combat sambo. And so my team took top team.
He knows so much about
I
that.
love it.
It's very weird. It's only because when you're into something, you're super
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
You find the people that you can compete
but
against.
it's like it's one of those. The funniest thing about Nick's obsession with this stuff is like how serious he takes it legitimately, and like he fucking does it. Like I think that's
Yeah.
the coolest thing about Nick is that he. Besides, the coolest thing about Nick is how good he is at motion graphics.
That's pretty cool.
It's like, how the hell is he that good? But the MMA stuff's always crazy. Couple things here. One, the fact that MMA stands for mixed martial arts, and it literally is this guy knows kung fu, that guy's a wrestler, and
Yeah.
they're gonna fight. It's like that shouldn't be what it is, but
Let it happen.
it fucking is.
That's
And
how it mainly was at the start, right?
well, the beginning.
Now everybody's
was-
just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
most people are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and like Muay Thai now. That's
But
But at
It's
the
just-
start, it
yeah.
was like Street Fighter.
But that's just so
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that is,
yeah,
that's
when there were no
so
weight
cool.
classes, it looked like
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
But then like one jujitsu person came through and just like changed the game.
Well,
well,
this is better.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. It actually
Was it
goes-
Royce Gracie?
Royce Gracie. It goes
Yeah.
deeper than that though, because the Gracies were the ones that put on UFC 1. So UFC was put on in collaboration, basically to showcase and quote unquote, I dare I say, market Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to America, because it had been very dominant in Brazil and in South America. But when they got here, they were
number one
like,
export.
we're willing to bet that our guy
Can take out
Royce-
all your guys.
And it was supposed to be Hickson Gracie, but Hickson Gracie was like too popular in Pride and like in some other places. Some people say, oh, they wanted Hoist, the smaller guy, to prove it. That's not true. It was that Hickson was too big, and they were worried he would have too much control once he became the celebrity. Because if you watch him fight, he's fucking insane.
It's
like,
Tekken,
Yeah.
Blessing.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fucking Tekken. And years ago, it was the Game Over Greggy show, like an early episode. Nick's talking about all this stuff, and you start talking about how the like head of the dojos go to other dojos to like fucking.
no. So you're talking about the gym challenges. So what used
There's
to
just
happen
fucking
is
real
Pokemon
life
shit.
gym challenges.
you can see this on there's VHS of this. And again, a lot of this, and I'm not saying that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu doesn't work, because it's a very, very effective self-defense and martial art, very much so. But there is a component when you start reading about the Gracies that they're really, really good marketers. And so what they did was they issued a challenge that said anyone can walk into a Gracie gym, I think still to this day in like Brazil, and you can challenge a black belt and they'll fuck you up.
Like,
That's awesome.
what?
That's awesome.
And there's VHS video of people coming in being like going full bore on someone, getting taken to the ground and just getting, and they don't beat you up. They'll still just slap you until you tap. They're not going to like murder you or anything. But like there's guys that you see the terror in their eyes when they're on the ground. They don't know what the fuck to do. They start grabbing for groins and eyes and shit. And then the Gracies will just like armbar them. Most of the time they just slap their faces until the guy just gives up because he realizes he's in a very, very bad spot. But anyway, for UFC 1, the first few UFCs were designed to highlight Royce Gracie, who then ended up winning. But from that, you got it's like icons of it because there were other guys that came in that were like wrestlers or like shoot fighters or had fought in Pride not Pride, but like other organizations like Pancrase or other places that were like used to a more grappling style, like specifically in Japan, they'd come from like a judo background or something like that. And so those guys ended up doing fairly well against each other. But then you had the motherfucker that was like the sumo wrestler that got his face caved in because he's not striking and he thought it was a spectacle and someone just fucking KOs him, you know? It's like those early UFCs were very hard to watch.
So like, where are you at with your fighting skill? Because like, obviously you've done this your whole life, right? And you're still doing jujitsu and stuff.
Yeah. I'm not a great striker. I do a lot of jiu-jitsu now, so I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Because as we've been talking today, right? Like one of the things that comes to mind is I would love to do a piece of content that is almost like a punked type situation where you get a hired actor who's also like a skilled fighter or whatever to like put you in a fighting situation to see like Nick on the streets when he's like in a situation where he
back
has
against
to fight.
the wall.
Yeah, back against the wall. There's no talking this out. Like you have to fight this man. I want to see Nick on the streets like doing real life.
I just picture Nick being like, all right, let's do this. And then the third person camera like gets behind his back. And, like the fight
it's like in 2D.
Yeah. Go for it. Let's have some fun. I don't know, man. Fighting is one of those things that like it's all fun and games until you're actually squared off against someone. So I've done in-house competitions. I've done some competitions outside as well, some local promotions and stuff like that. And it's scary stuff. Like when you go square off against someone who you don't know, who's like, I'm gonna fucking break your arm if I can. It feels pretty real. But again, you start getting into the idea of mixed martial arts and the concept of like jiu-jitsu is only really one very important component of it though. My striking is not great. So if someone started throwing hands at me, it would be
just tackle him.
I would probably have to. I mean, I'd probably try to take him to the ground, but you might eat a couple blows in that time, or you might get knocked the fuck out. Right? I've had guys that have come into my gym and I've just fucked around, like we're sparring a little bit, and I'm like, oh shit, if this dude wanted to, like I couldn't close the distance before he fucking head kicked me, and I'd be just go. Or have you ever had anyone put you in a clinch, a Muay Thai clinch?
Oh, I think I have.
So it's the clinch is when you see him do
like
this. Like I think Sagat does it in Street Fighter, where he grabs kind of a double collar tie on the back of your neck, and then
it's like
starts fucking throwing knees into your
where it's
chest.
like basically people doing this.
That shit is so fucking hard to get out of, because the way to get out of it is you have to go down. Your head has to go down. That's what they want, because as your head goes down, their fucking knee comes up right into your face and it knocks them out. People get knocked out like that all the time. So you have to kind of just block and hope to God your kidney doesn't rupture if he goes to your side.
I would dodge each.
What's going
knee
on,
like
guys?
him.
Shane here.
And he'd be fucking parrying. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
just parry every knee.
Hear that, by the way? Did that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kevin
I think
plays
Kevin-
it.
I think
Yeah,
Kevin's
sorry,
looking at
I'm
the
like
clip.
prepping videos to see if I can get the Muay Thai clinch so that everyone can see it, but then sometimes the audio plays.
Nick, have you ever been like concussed?
Yeah.
Like bell rung, you wake up like
Never knocked out, but I've had moments where I've been dropped so hard that I see stars and I can't breathe.
See, my follow up question was going to be like, say there's a man, like a strange man comes to kind of funny.
Sure.
Man.
Yeah.
And like he grabs Andy and is like, I don't have a weapon. Like the only way y'all are gonna take me out is with your,
Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah. I mean,
is with your bare. Are
Who
you
will
stepping
challenge
up?
me?
Like, are you stepping up to the occasion, or are you letting like Kevin or Greg go first?
I mean, I would.
love that it's them.
So here's the reality of it is.
Who else is gonna be?
I know.
I mean, the reality. You want the joke answer to it, or you want the real answer?
Both.
The joke answer is, of course, yeah, I fucking step up. I don't care. I mean, like whatever. I mean, if the guy has no training whatsoever, it's odds are in my favor, very very highly. If I
What's
get
the first? What's the first thing you do? Like, what's,
I would blast double him, or I would try to
Hold on,
throw
what?
it down.
You'd blast elbow?
Blast double.
Blast tackle.
I heard I would
Blast
blast.
double is basically when you change levels and just go fucking straight.
I heard I would
try to.
blast out a limb. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, if someone doesn't know what they're doing, like taking someone down to the ground is pretty easy. Most people like they'll start throwing, and if you can get into their space, then if I can get a hold of you, you're probably gonna go to the ground. And then once that happens, I can just control you until I could. Unless the guy's like 250, then it's like, okay, well I gotta choke this guy.
I'm envisioning like an average strange man.
If the guy's my
let's say
size,
let's put him at 190.
What's his hair like?
190. Yeah.
Strange.
190 wouldn't be fun,
He has
but
a bowl cut.
I would probably be okay unless the guy was low key like a black belt, and then I'd be like, fuck, I'm getting dosed. But the real answer is fighting two people is not possible.
Yeah.
So if me and Greg being 240 pounds decided to subdue a guy, he's not fucking doing shit. Strength in numbers is always the best thing. That's why whenever you see these moments in movies or whatever, where like one dude takes on three guys, I'm like, no fucking way. You're getting the shit kicked out of you if three guys come at you.
Although,
and then don't forget, more often than not, people have knives and shit on them, which is it's just better to not get into a fight.
Kevin, can you Google really quickly Cam Newton fight?
This is the one during practice, or am I thinking of a different one?
This happened recently. Cam Newton is a retired football player.
Oh no.
Cam Newton is a former quarterback who is like not built like a quarterback. This dude is gigantic. And was recently at some festival of some sort, and there was like another podcasting crew there.
Oh, I heard about this.
And they were jawing at each other, talking shit to each other. And Cam Newton is a giant man just handling like three people. And these three people were just getting like, he was just controlling multiple people with both of his arms because he is.
But I mean, dude,
he's still very much in shape, and he's like 6'5", probably 260, something like that.
that's a big dude.
Yeah,
That's the one thing you don't realize when you're like wrestling with someone is that like
he's the man in the big
Controlling
wizard
them.
looking hat. Yeah, because he always wears really funky hats. He's very like he reminds me of like when the NBA was going through like a very strong fashion phase where every interview had like Russell Westbrook wearing some weird glasses. You're like, what are you doing? Cam Newton never really exited that. He's always been very like kind of fashion forward. I'm gonna do whatever I want with my fashion. So he's always wearing hats, but it just looked hilarious for him to be in that fight, and that wizard hat went nowhere. It stayed on his head.
That's incredible.
that's the thing when you start dealing with like weight classes, you don't think about it, right? But like someone who outweighs you by 60 pounds, it's like fighting two humans. Even a 10-pound weight differential, it feels like you're pushing against fucking like sand as you're trying to.
In the scenario where it's not a strange man, it's Cam Newton.
Cam Newton's gonna fucking
Cam Newton
murder
comes in, he grabs Andy, and is like, "All right, y'all gonna take me out."
Andy's-
You let him have
Like,
I'm
Andy.
done for.
What order are we going?
I'm done for in that moment.
You're gone. I mean, that's
Because I'm walking out. I'm like, "All right, cool, bye guys. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
that's the one hard thing is when you start really kind of paring it back. Like there's skill, and there are guys in my gym that are 160 that'll fuck up guys that are 250 because they're so skilled. Like 175. Like one of my head coaches, John, who was like 175. He just went up against a guy that was 2 weight classes above him and did very, very well against the guy. This guy's a high level black belt too, which was actually cool because the guy came and trained with us later and fucked everyone up. But like it's a skill to strength and athletic ratio because someone who's never trained but maybe did a little bit of wrestling in high school and is 265 pounds of sheer fucking testosterone and muscle, they're gonna fuck me up.
Yeah.
There's not. I mean, unless I can get a choke in or pull a heel hook out of my ass or something crazy like that, I'm just getting destroyed.
I wish I had this video saved, but it kind of made the rounds a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago on Twitter, and it was a smaller dude in the streets with, I believe, his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was getting like
I saw this.
shit on by that really, really tall dude.
Oh, I thought it was one where there was like 2 guys and he just fucking punched one of them.
No, there was one very, very tall man, and the short guy is like starting to fight the guy, and it's like, oh, this is not going to end well for the short guy. It still may not have, based on where the video ended, but like the short guy is like taking punches, and he's faster than the larger guy. Larger guy ends up getting both of his hands on him, and it's like, ooh, this is not going to end well, because I've seen street fights videos where dude just like gets thrown down to the ground, the head hits the concrete, dude's just gone, right?
Oh yeah.
And in this case, he like picked up the small guy, and the small guy basically pulled like a midair reversal
And like lands on his feet. I saw that same
Like,
video too.
but in the middle of like kind of like trying to be thrown by the large guy, kind of like almost like, you know, like grabs him with his head and his elbow or something and like lands perfectly on his feet. It was like the wild, and somebody made like a Tekken reference. They're like, holy shit, he pulled off a
Like he
mid-air
broke-
cancel or
Yeah,
some
like he
shit.
broke the grab. And
Yeah.
That's the
It
thing.
was insane.
That's the thing about fighting though, man. Is like you got to train to fight. Like that, and that's the one thing that I will say about like when you're stepping into gyms, even light rolls, like yeah, you have a better chance than most people because you're kind of used to it. But like unless you compete, unless you're stepping in and like actually throwing punches at people, you don't have that. You have to train that feeling of like getting, you know, that existential dread you feel when you're gonna get into a fight. That like all the energy goes out of your fucking stomach and you're cold, and you're
dude,
shaking.
I was
You have to feel that. Or
I
else
was
you're
just
not
talking to
gonna
a
feel
friend about
appreciated.
this. That like I got into only like one fight when I was growing up in middle school, and I forget. I have no idea what it was about. Like to this day, like I can't remember what the argument was.
Something stupid.
It was definitely something stupid, right? Like we're in 7th grade or whatever, and this is boarding school, so it's us in our dorm going back and forth for probably like 20 minutes about some bullshit. And then like it gets to a point where it's like, oh, we're about to fight. And so like we're standing and like our roommates are kind of like trying to separate us or whatever. And then like comes an opening where it's like, all right, they're about to fight. And he pulls the punch back, he throws it, and I duck under it.
Yeah.
And they like separate us again. And I'm like,
Spider-Man, you like
yeah. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, yo, I just did that shit. Like, all right, cool.
that shit.
But then it comes to the point where it's like, okay, well now it's my turn to throw a punch.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, I don't have it in me. Like, I don't think I can. I can dodge a punch. I don't think I can actually throw a punch at this guy. Like that feels like it's taking it to another level. And he's already at that level. I'm not at that level where I'm ready to throw a punch. And so I don't do it. And then he throws a follow-up punch, and it does hit. And it was like a one-hit knockout type situation where like he punches me in the eye. That was like my
Yeah.
first black
Dude.
eye from a punch. Yeah. And it was like, that's when I was like, okay, I don't have this in me. I don't have the fight gene in me.
I had a very similar experience. We were playing Foursquare in like 6th grade, and this guy, I never met the guy in my life. He was just there, and he's like, I'm gonna play with you, and then
you never met a guy in 6th grade?
It's weird. I don't.
You were
I
in
know
school?
I was in the 6th grade, and this guy, he was one of
I
those
feel like
guys.
there wasn't a student I didn't know in middle school.
Weird. I should have known him, but I don't know why. And he was also one of those guys that looked like he was like 24 when he was in 6th grade. So for all I know, maybe I got knocked out by the fucking janitor. But yeah, this guy, I don't know, I can't remember why, but for some reason he did something that pissed me off, and I was like, hey, dude, you can't do that shit. And I like shoved him, and he just fucking
Oh.
punched me right in the eye.
Actually, I guess I got into more fights.
And I
Yeah,
was
that
like-
just reminded me of a different fight I got into.
But I just remember thinking like, whoa, like it hurt so bad to have someone just punch you as hard as fucking possible in your eye,
Dude,
that I couldn't function for like 3 days. It was like I had a black eye, and I was just like fucking concussed a little bit. It
I
was
had
weird.
one where there was another kid who was way bigger than me, who like I had no business trying to, and I wasn't even trying to fight him. I think I was just trying to insult him. It was like same boarding school situation where I forget what it was. I was upset about something, so I'm going off on him. And this kid didn't even think twice, where he just fucking hooks me in the like the side of the head. I had never been hit that hard in my face, and I see stars.
Yeah.
Like I never understood the idea of seeing stars before until that moment, where like I see stars for a second. I like go out for like half a second, and I'm like on the floor, and I was like, I don't know what that feeling was. Like I didn't know I could get hit that hard. And like after that, I was like, all right, cool, it's over. I'm not fighting you, bro. Like we're good here.
That's why I tell people, I'm like, just don't get into the fight. Just fucking don't start throwing it. Because you see many videos of people who are just like talking shit, and then one person just goes bang, tags them right in the fucking chin, and they hit their head on the ground. And it's like, you're gonna be done. You're gonna be different now forever.
Well, dude, that the one fight I got in ever in my life, and y'all know me, I am not trying to get in fights, period. But there's been a couple situations, mainly with like my brother's friends. It's always my fucking brother's friends, little pieces of shit, where like they would take something too far with me. Like God, his friend True one time threw a water balloon at me, and it's you see stars. I saw rage. You know what I mean? It was like you went too far. You crossed the line, like that type of shit. But it never really got to a point where like I'm fighting these kids. But one time in middle school, there was this like I would say the closest thing I ever had to a bully, talking shit and doing some stuff. He crossed the line, and then he got in my face, and then he punched me in the face, and I was like, I had that moment of like, I don't know what
Yeah, what do I do here?
fuck, but I had no time to even think. I just went into action, and my action was a very Tim-like action, which is not graceful and just very big. A lot of hands moving around, but legit, I was like, I'm in a fight now. I need to fucking fight this. It was in band class of all guys.
Of course.
You were in band?
Oh yeah, dude,
play
trumpet,
trumpet.
baby. Let's go.
I don't
Yeah, the amount
remember
of
that.
fights. Yeah, trumpets for
I think I did trumpet for 2 months, and I was like, "Fuck this."
I don't remember that.
But
I couldn't figure out how to blow
this
into it.
guy punches me in the face. I get so upset, and my first instinct is I run at him and I grab him and I pick him up and I straight up
Suplex.
not suplex.
DDT'd.
No, freaking
Body slam.
no, what Batista bomb,
ragdolled.
power bomb,
Power
power
bomb.
bomb. I fucking power bomb him.
Fuck yeah.
Onto one of those like the chairs, like the little the hard plastic chairs with the
Yeah.
metal legs,
Bro.
onto the back part.
Oh,
Jesus.
And legitimately, I could have fucking killed this.
Yeah, oh,
guy.
yeah.
Realize that
Like
kid,
I could have
yeah.
fucked him up, and like thank God that didn't happen. Like it was less of a fight; it was more of a me like destroying this kid.
Hell yeah.
But no,
No,
it was
no,
not.
I mean, not
hell-
hell- not
no,
hell
it
yeah,
was
but,
really,
like-
really, really bad. He never fucked with me again after that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But I immediately I regretted it. I was like, I went way too far.
Have you ever shared the tale of the pizza pusher? I feel like I might have told that before. No,
It's a pusher.
pizza pusher.
pusher, no.
This happened in Seattle. I'm not in middle school anymore. This is actually like as an adult. This is like 2018 where this happened. I'm hanging out. This is when I was hanging out with like my friend Rihanna, that people know from What's Good, and like our group of friends that are in Seattle. And we would do this thing where every Saturday we would meet up in Capitol Hill, get Domino's pizza, bring it back to Rihanna's place, and we'd watch a new Marvel movie. This is like leading up to Avengers Infinity War. One of the days we go grab a bunch of pizza, we go grab like a bunch of drinks and stuff, and we're getting back, and Rihanna's apartment, like the power goes out, and so like her key fob isn't working to let us in. There's like a guy that's coming outward, and he opens the door and then he closes the door behind him and is like, "Sorry, can't let you in, don't know you guys," type thing. And we're like, "Oh, what an asshole." Like, you know, the power's out. Like, obviously that's why our key fob isn't working. And so like as he's walking away, one of our dudes, and like I don't really support him saying this, but he says it by himself anyway, and I'm like, whatever. But he's like, as he's walking away, the dude's like, "Thanks, douchebag." And like that guy stops, turns around, comes to us, and I'm like, "Ah, here we go." He's like, "What the fuck, man? Like, why are you calling me a douchebag? Like, I'm not supposed to let you in." Like all this shit, like getting real mad at us to the point. And like he, like at some point, we were expecting him to just stop and like leave.
Yeah.
He keeps going.
You want to fight?
And like we start looking at each other like, "Oh, we might have to put down these drinks."
They call me the pizza pusher for a reason.
And so like, you know, like I'm like me and I think it was like me and one of the dudes look at each other like, "Yo, let me put down these Angry Orchards that I'm holding, that I'm holding right now." And like, you know, we keep arguing. We're like, "Oh, get the fuck out of our faces!" Like all this shit, right? Going back and forth. He finally like starts to walk away, and we're like, "All right, cool, like that's done." He then stops again, comes back again, and one of the dudes that's with us is Frankie. Some of you guys might know Frankie. Frankie's holding like 4 pizzas in his hand. But the dude comes back, walks up to Frankie, and then like shoves the pizza.
Oh, shit.
in Frankie's face.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, and then fucking like speed walks away. Like it was like the most punk ass thing to do, of like shoves it, walks away before any of us can like do anything about it. And like as he's
That
walking
may have
away,
began the fight for me, where I'm like, that's our fucking pizza. Like,
yeah. Well, thankfully, like thankfully Frankie like got it all. Like none of it spilled off.
Oh,
the box or
okay, thank
anything.
God.
Like it all just went kind of vertical in his face, but then he was like,
Okay.
fucking, you know,
God,
got it
thank
back. But I was fucking infuriated. I
Yeah.
was like, "Yo, fuck off, man!" Like, you know, I was like, I was screaming in a tone that I don't scream. Like, I was hitting octaves where I'm like, I don't
Chris has
even,
the deepest voice now.
Yeah.
Come at me, motherfucker.
I was like, I don't yell like this.
I was expecting more like, you better not do that! You pizza pusher!
I legitimately was like, I don't yell like this. And like in that moment, I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck?" It was like, you know, he like walks off, and we're all looking at each other like, that was fucking crazy. But yeah, now after that, we called that guy the pizza pusher.
Pizza pusher.
Like
That's
fucking villain name.
so-
Pizza pusher of Fifth Street or some shit like that.
Yeah, the pizza pusher of Capitol Hill.
God,
I wanted to bring up real quick. You all talk like I was asking the concussion question because in the NFL, when you get a concussion, back in the day, it was you'd get up, you might wobble a bit, but no, like there were really no protocols until the NFL started really striking down on. We saw that guy wobble a bit. We saw we saw him kind of do a weird movement, take him to the tent, do the
Can they
like
make the tent
concussion
a little
testing.
bit bigger though? Why is the tent so small?
Well, that's a good question. It's mainly just for like privacy.
It's for privacy, but
Um,
like they get him in there. I'm claustrophogic.
Just a big, yeah,
it's fucking
gigantic kind of
300
tiny
pound
tent.
guy and a little doctor.
But I was listening to an interview recently where former wide receiver Julian Edelman played with Tom Brady for a lot of like the end of Tom Brady's career, and another his friend Danny Amendola were both two of the wide receivers for the Patriots, and they would talk about how like when you're always on the bubble of like not re-signing a contract, when you're not super guaranteed in your contract, like if you miss a game because of a concussion, that's like a lot of money you're gonna lose. You're not like Tom Brady who has an $80 million contract guaranteed or whatever. You're not one of these superstars. So they were like, obviously there's a lot of bad stories about Junior Seau, former linebacker in the NFL, who killed himself with a shotgun in the chest because he wanted scientists to be able to study his brain.
Jesus.
Because he knew he was fucked up. He knew all the concussions were ruining his brain. So instead of shooting himself in the head because he was going through so much depression, shot himself in the chest so his brain could be preserved. Like that, like a lot of NFL players have that bad shit has happened because they go through CTE and the brain is just constantly having collisions. You're going through small car wrecks multiple times a day, like in a football game. But what these players are doing, because you still have to worry about your money when you're that green, I guess, in the league. Somebody get their bell rung, player would run over to them immediately and be like, "Hey, it's Sunday. We're in Kansas City right now. It's 3 p.m." Like they're like, we would have to have each other's backs. We would tell each other.
Horrible.
He was like, yeah, it wasn't the right thing to do, but like we cared about our money more. We didn't
Yeah.
we weren't gonna miss a game and then possibly miss out on incentives where a lot of times these people's contracts are like, you have to play this amount of games. You can't miss these amount of games. If you do, you get a bonus incentive or this amount of receptions. If you hit that incentive, you'll get $500,000 bonus or whatever. There's a lot of that stuff built into the contract. So when they'd get their bells rung, they'd immediately walk up to like have each other's backs and be like, "It's 2 p.m. It's Sunday. You're Julian." Like,
How is this legal? I just don't even. I don't get it.
Oh, you
man.
mean how is football legal?
Yeah.
it's wild, dude. It's
I'm not throwing stones here. It's like I love professional wrestling. I also don't understand how that's legal. Like the shit that these people are doing. It's like
the long-term effects are just really
man.
messed up, man.
I'll tell you what. I watched Iron Claw last weekend, which is a phenomenal film. Everyone should go watch it. But D is not very well versed in like the tragic lives of most wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I say most
Oh, you should
because
watch the
it
wrestling.
usually is most, right? And she's like, "Is this?" She's like, "Is this real?" I was like, "Oh yeah." Not only is this real, but like this is commonplace with a lot of these guys, specifically in the 80s and 90s, where like we didn't understand it. They were doing a lot of steroids and they were like, that you come from these like super conservative, abusive households, and it's like it's crazy, man. It's
like
not-
your diet was like vodka and the stories of Andre the Giant drinking like 28 beers on a plane, the stories of him like fucking like shitting himself because he was just drunk, and like that the stuff they do to like just take away the pain. Absolutely
Lot of
insane.
coke.
Has Dee ever watched The Wrestler?
yes,
God,
she
I love
loved
The Wrestler.
but she has
You
not
ever watched
watched
The Wrestler?
No, not yet.
Oh man,
She hasn't
Mickey
watched it.
Rourke. That's when he's
I heard
making his
good things
comeback.
about that one.
Oh man,
Oh,
it
it's
was
it's
so
very
good.
sad.
Very very sad, but like
Should
just
I
very.
do a double feature of that and Iron Claw? 'Cause I still
Oh
haven't
my
seen Iron
God.
Claw.
No,
only if
no,
you
you
wanna
shouldn't
hate
do
that.
that. Yeah.
yeah. I don't think it's actually physically possible to watch both.
Damn.
It's not like you're not gonna feel great about yourself, but you're gonna be like, God damn, I love feeling like that after a movie, even if
Honestly,
it's depressing.
same, dude.
Yeah,
Like, I watched The Imitation Game a couple years ago. That made me feel like shit.
but like
loved it.
Oh.
but then like you
Was
just
that
go on
the
a long drive,
Benedict
no
Cumberbatch?
music.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. God,
That was a sad
that movie was depressing, but also
Yeah.
really good. Really, really good.
Fucking Ram Jam, dude. Randy Ram Jam. He's just like an old. He always says, "I'm an old beat up piece of meat." And his kids don't give a shit about him. It's the first time I ever heard Call of Duty reference in a movie. Because his like kid was playing Call of Duty, and he's like, "Call it Duty? No, Call of Duty." It's like when Modern Warfare like 1 or 2 were out or whatever. But he's Randy Ram Jam, and he's just like was at the top of this wrestling heights in the 70s and 80s. And now he's barely getting the local fucking circus, local carnival, like arena events or whatever. And it's so good, dude.
God.
It's so emotional.
Dude, I don't know how I don't know a lot about wrestling, but those local promotions like that people have to come up in, these guys fucking, you gotta work, man. You gotta put so much work in,
Dude.
to be able to get the notoriety that people have, like in the WWE. I can't even fucking fathom how much pain you have to take on those circuits
To get
be able to
recognized.
just to get recognized.
Yeah.
Like I think they put it very succinctly, and I think it was because D was like, I don't really know, it's fake, right? I was like, it's fake, but it's entertainment, and like but they still have to do the stuff. And then he has that one line in Iron Claw where he's like, where Lily Allen's talking to him about like what's the point of
Lily
the belt?
Allen is in Iron Claw.
Not Lily Allen. Lily who's the girl from Baby Driver? The actor from Baby Driver. Lily something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, she plays his sort of like Kevin's.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's really good. Well, he has a wonderful moment where he's like belts are
Lily
important
James.
because Lily James, thank you. Lily Allen. That would be interesting. He goes, yeah, belts aren't. You're not like winning. Belts are like a promotion, like getting a job. He's like, this is my job, and a belt is a job promotion. It basically means that the bosses at that level think that I have what it takes to make it to the next level. And like, if you get promoted enough, if you're good enough with the fans, if you're good enough in the ring, you take enough punishment, like you get to the height of it, and then you become the champion. And I was like, that's a really beautiful way of putting it.
It's really interesting. Just jumping off of that, Becky Lynch just put her book out, and there's a passage that was going around Twitter that I was like, God damn, like this is what wrestling is, like behind the scenes, where she was like, I was dominant, I became champion, I was retaining the championship over and over, but it was hitting the point that I was a face, which means good guy. I was a good guy for so long that the fans were starting to turn on me just because I had you want the rise, you want the underdog story, but then it hits a point where it's like, okay, we're kind of over this. And she was like, I didn't want to hit that point. So I went to management. I was just like, hey, at this upcoming WrestleMania or whatever it is, I'm facing Shayna Baszler, who is a former UFC person. And she's like, I want to put her over. I want her to win. And I want to give her credibility, because whenever people jump, there's always the like, you're not a wrestler, you're this, like that type of stuff. So she's like, I want to lose and I want this. And then they wouldn't let her. And she's like, it's crazy that in wrestling, you can win and still lose.
Wow.
And it's like, damn, dude.
That's
crazy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a good one. This has been the Kind of Funny podcast. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table to bring fun topics, like could Nick win in a fight against a random person that
Strange
comes in?
man.
The strange man.
Yeah.
Or Cam Newton, depending on
Yeah.
Probably not.
Or 6'5" Cam Newton. Yeah.
Let us know if you guys loved our discussion. Let us know if you think any of us could possibly win in a fight, or if you've seen Dune 2 and you really like it. Let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on podcast services, please tell a friend that you enjoyed this podcast. Share it with them. Send them the link. Send it to your mama, your daddy, your auntie, your uncle, anyone out there. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Nick Scarpino. You've been wonderful. I love
Nick,
you.
I just want to let you know real quick that Kevin's time code, the first time code for this episode, is popcorn 2 wet ?
That's the name of the episode now.
True.
Bye.
True.